years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's late June, and it doesn't feel anything like it. If you go outside, it's clear that we had some sort of a cold front go through here last night. Our temperature right now is 80. Don't get used to that because 90s are coming soon enough. For what it's worth, I think you can tell we're not at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue today. Instead, we're at the Homestead. Kelly Holcomb may or may not be with us later in the show, but very likely he won't be with us during the 3 o'clock hour. Parker Kelly is alongside. Let's say hello to him. Parker, how you doing?
I am here. I am ready to talk sports. And George, as you know, given what's happened the last 12 hours, there's no shortage of things to talk about.
Well, that is true. So if you've got that much on your plate, go.
All right. We'll start with what happened overnight in the NBA. A blockbuster trade. We talked about yesterday that a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo was expected before the NBA draft, which, by the way, starts tonight, the first round on ABC. Giannis has been traded to the Miami Heat. George, here are the trade details, and bear with me because it's a lot. The Milwaukee Bucks are trading Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis to the Miami Heat in exchange for Tyler Hero, Kel'el Ware, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparas Jaquez-Chunas, 3 first-round picks, and 1 pick swap and 1 second-rounder. That's a mouthful.
Okay, so look, everybody knew this was coming in some form or fashion. The only question was, would it be the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics? All this Vegas odds have Miami as the 3rd best team in the East. That's a bunch of hogwash. I don't know where they're getting that. Miami at this point is very strapped for money to build out the rest of this roster. I have no idea how they're going to do it. And I guess I'm mystified that the trade with the Celtics didn't happen. That's what all along I thought would be the case, that he'd end up in Boston. Jaylen Brown would end up in some form or fashion exiled in Milwaukee. I don't see where this really helped Giannis in his quest to win another NBA title. I don't look. I realize Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra are both very good at their jobs. They're going to have to be incredibly good because their 3rd in the East is hogwash.
Their front court looks good with Giannis and Bam Adebayo, but who's gonna bring the ball up the court? Because Norm Powell, I think, is their projected point guard, but he's an unrestricted free agent.
And most people believe he's leaving, but only time will tell on that. So it's finally happened after all these years of rumors. Giannis, the Greek boy, is headed to Miami.
So the Celtics did make an offer to the Bucks. Here's what it would include. It would have included 2024 Finals MVP Jaylen Brown and 2 first-round picks. So that's what they offered.
I mean, that feels like something because I'm sure they had a pretty good idea what Miami was up to. That feels like an offer that says, we really don't want you to accept.
I have no idea what's going to happen with Jaylen Brown because I don't think it has to do with his play on the court because he's a very, very good player. I think he was in the running for MVP this year, but his comments that he's made off the court. So Shams Charania just put out that the Boston Celtics have just now started to listen, engage, and discuss trades around Jaylen Brown hours ahead of the NBA draft.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pretend to know what all's going on there. It sounds a little weird.
So just round 1 tonight, and then round 2 will be tomorrow, both at 7 p.m. So I did a little bit of digging on what's all gone on with Dusty May, because we were speculating before the show yesterday. So he was on the field of 68 with Jeff Goodwin, and we were both right. He's very frustrated with the state of college basketball right now and the state of college athletics. The move to go to the NBA, as he would say, just allows him to coach basketball, just to be a coach. So we were both right.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a sad state of affairs. And the problem is none of this is going to get solved anytime soon. I don't think Dusty May's the last one that's going to run for cover. I guess I'm surprised it's the Mavericks. If it were something like the Lakers, the Celtics, I could see it. The Mavs, I mean, that's a real coin flip.
So we're going to quickly move to football because another gigantic bomb was dropped just an hour before the show. The NFL has decided to nix the 2026 supplemental draft. Sorsby's going to have to wait until 2027 to officially play in the NFL.
Maybe he is and maybe he isn't.
They will sue.
I fully expect his legal team, with probably some help from the NFL Players Association, to file suit basically saying you can't do this. What the NFL, it appears to me, is saying is, look, he's got a laundry list of issues that we're not really in the mood to have to deal with, so sue us. We'll take our chances.
That's what it sounds like it's going to do, because Jeffrey Kessler said that they're violating their CBA and the law, so they're going to pursue immediate action with the NFLPA.
Yeah, for the moment, in this limbo before we see what the next move is, he's kind of screwed for a year at the moment. Now, what comes out of the legal stuff, who knows? But it sure seems like the NFL is saying, you know what? We'll take our chances. We got enough money. We can outspend you. We can tie this thing up in court for however long. And who knows?
I do think this is the best case for Sorsby. And it may sound weird because it's going to give him a year to prove that, at least for a calendar year, that he can put the betting aside, because the NFL does not mess around with this stuff.
Yeah, but what do you, okay. I hear what you're saying. To me, it's more that he will get a year to clear his head and because he's been through a lot. And no matter how you analyze this, there's a human being that you would like to see end up in a much better place.
Sure.
I guess I wonder, first of all, this is going to end up in court, and that feels like a 50-50 coin flip. A year away from all this, I don't know if it's good for him or not, but, how do you know whether that year will help him in the gambling world or not? I mean, there's no way to know.
No way, but it would be a quick turnaround. You enter the supplemental draft, and then you're at training camp, and all this legal drama that's gone on. You have a year off. I think that would give him the opportunity to clear his head. If he actually does, that's yet to be determined. That's kind
what
of
does he do in that year off, though?
Right.
I mean, right now he can't play college football. The NFL's telling him he can't play pro football. I don't know if there's a Canadian Football League deal.
He still can do that. The CFL and other leagues.
He can do that. This is a weird story. I'll be interested when we go to Knoxville in a little while with Tony Basilio to see if he's put better thought into it than I have. To me, it's just the NFL saying, you know what? We don't want to deal with your baggage, and we are willing to take our chances in court and see what happens.
We will see. I mean, it seems like there's a new twist and turn with this every single day. But the NCAA has also approved the 5-year age-based eligibility model. I'm trying to find the specifics. Here we go. The policy will start an athlete's clock, 1, upon initial enrollment in college, and 2, at the start of the academic year after their 19th birthday, whichever occurs first.
Well, now, in all fairness, they are the ones that have created a lot of this problem. When you hear things about, people being granted an 8th year, and we heard a 9th at one point that was absolutely insane. You're like, what do you expect?
Exactly. North Texas had a quarterback a couple years ago that was playing at age 29. Crazy. Crazy
The
stuff.
old line about, and he gets his AARP card first.
Exactly. We haven't even touched on the Men's College World Series final last night. Congratulations to Oklahoma. They won their 3rd Men's College World Series title in their program history, and it really was not all that close last night with North Carolina.
This one's a head scratcher for me. But what it really proves is what you see in a lot of postseason play. It's the team that gets hot late that oftentimes rules the day. The Oklahoma team I saw here in Nashville, if you had said, that's going to be your national champion, I'd have laughed at you. I mean, I would have described them as a kind of middle of the road kind of deal, but nothing that suggested national championship. But you know what? Good for them.
They were below 500 in SEC play this year, I think.
I don't have it in front of me, without looking at it. I want to say you're right, but I can't prove that.
They only lost 1 game in the postseason. Crazy. So good for Oklahoma.
They got hot. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Good for Oklahoma. They are national champions. That's a 7th straight title for the SEC. The NHL is eyeing expansion in 2 cities in the state of Texas, the one being Houston and the other being Austin. That was an hour ago.
Oklahoma looks like was 14-16.
Yeah. Okay.
In league play. Okay, go back through that story again.
NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has informed the Board of Governors that they are opening a process to investigate 2 cities in the state of Texas, Houston and Austin, for an expansion franchise.
Huh. Houston has long been considered a likely down the road. I had never heard Austin, Texas before, but that doesn't mean that they're not viable.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one either. That would be interesting for sure to see if that happens. Sad news in the NFL. Jets quarterback Geno Smith is being investigated for a battery accusation from a woman. I think that was last night. So we don't have any. There's nothing specific as of right now. A woman accused him of battery yesterday, and they're investigating now.
Yeah.
So sad news for Geno. The Portland Trailblazers have a new head coach. They have hired Minnesota Timberwolves lead assistant Micah Nori.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
So new head coach for the Trailblazers. Tiger Woods has made his first appearance since his DUI arrest late in March. He introduced PGA Tour CEO Brian Rolap at a news conference. And by the way, Rolap is going to be the new commissioner of the PGA after Jay Monahan steps down at the end of this year.
Okay.
There will also be a new format for the PGA. I'll get it pulled up here. George, have you seen this story?
Mm-mm.
There will be a new format for the PGA starting in 2028. 20 events minimum, 144 player fields on average with a 36-hole cut, a minimum $4 million purse. Let's see. There's going to be promotion and relegation. and you can win PGA Tour Challenger Series events in season promotion. I haven't gotten into all the specifics yet, but that was earlier.
Okay.
I'd love to get Kelly's thoughts when he joins us next.
Here's what you've
I'm
got
sure
in the PGA Tour. You have got, and look, this isn't exactly breaking news. That is one brutally competitive field. To get to the PGA Tour is hard. It's one of the hardest things to do. Friends of mine that have been through Q school call it absolutely agonizing.
It's one of the hardest sports to play, hardest to keep your composure too. So we'll end with World Cup update. Portugal beat Uzbekistan 5-0. Cristiano Ronaldo scored twice, and he has scored in 6 World Cups, which I think is a record. England and Ghana just kicked off, and they're playing in Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Panama and Croatia will play tonight, and Colombia and the Congo.
Yeah, I'm sitting here watching a little bit. They're playing in the Patriots Stadium, and all the talk that they would have attendance issues just does not seem to have played out. Everywhere that I see a game, these crowds are massive.
Massive.
Yeah.
It seems to be doing really well in the United States. So, George, loaded update today.
It was
lots of stuff to get to. Lots of stuff.
Don't flatter yourself. Okay, after the break, we'll go to Knoxville. Tony Basilio is going to join us. I really want to hear his take on what went on today with the NFL and Brendan Sorsby. We'll also talk to him about where Tennessee players might end up in the NBA draft. We're thinking, of course, of Nate Ament. So stick around. We got a full menu for you on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank & Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank & Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Don't mind me, I'm just talking Tennessee.
We're back. It's going to be a busy week on the show. Tomorrow we'll broadcast live from First Horizon Park, and then Thursday we'll be up in Tony Basilio's neck of the woods, broadcasting from the Greater Knoxville Sports Hall of Fame banquet. Our buddy Mark, as I leave the picture there, our buddy Mark Griffin is receiving the Pat Summit Award, and that is really cool. So let's bring Tony Basilio in from Knoxville. Tony, on the front end, no Kelly Holcomb.
Oh man, bummer.
I can tell you're what would be a good crestfallen.
I'm torn up over it, George.
I can see that. How about Griff? That's a good deal.
Man, that's fantastic. Guy pours his heart into a lot of kids, a lot of athletes down through the years. Mark's one of these people that's never asked for a penny in return with these guys. I've seen him try to help guys work on resumes, how to interview better, things that we need to have in the real world. Mark Griffin's the best of us when it comes to sports and this experience we share.
Amen. So this came out, I'm guessing, after you went off the air, the NFL decision on Brendan Sorsby. Your first thoughts about it? What's sort of your commentary behind it?
They don't want to fool with him. Brendan Sorsby wants to play quarterback. He's going to have to figure out something else, I think, George. I mean, you read into that. Look, when they decide not to have the supplemental draft, when it was a fait accompli that's where he was going to be taken, that's not a good sign, George. And, if I was Mike Repole and the UFL, I would act on this and try to get this guy in my league. I'd try to make a deal with him. I wonder if Brendan Sorsby now tries to reapply for and tries to ramp his NCAA deal back up, because he stands to lose $5 million by not playing this year. That was what was on the table. Maybe he gets back in it. Maybe the TCU people decide, hey, since the NFL's done this, we owe it to this guy to see it through. I have no idea. I'm just spitballing here, but it looks like the NFL saying to him, we're not going to fool with you, my friend.
So, a couple of thoughts on my end, and I want to see where you take this. He's represented by Jeffrey Kessler, who has been a thorn in the side of the NCAA for years. But shouldn't he have known and been able to go to the NFL ahead of time and say, look, before we do anything, we need to make sure that you would honor this supplemental draft? Shouldn't that have happened?
George, in a perfect world, sure. But if you look at the chronology of what went on there, as soon as Ken Paxton left himself open for the Big 12 to sue them federally. That's what happened. And we were talking about that last week on here. Paxson left the door open, and the Big 12 decided, you know what? Since he's brought it into this court, we'll go there with you. And I think this thing happened so haphazardly. It was never their goal to end up in the supplemental draft, George. It was always their goal to see it through to get that $5 million. But, at the end of the day, the NFL is not going to fool with Sorsby. They're just not.
So you and I both know that there's litigation coming, that they will now file suit against the NFL saying you can't do this. I'm guessing they'll get the NFL Players Association in the middle of it supporting them. Is it also the NFL saying, you know what, we don't care. We're going to take our chances in court?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. If you read what the NFL put out today when in their announcement, they basically said this was collectively bargained by the union that we do not have to hold a supplemental draft for everybody. In other words, we can decide as per case basis who we hold a supplemental draft for, and we're not going to hold a supplemental draft for this guy. And you know what, George? If it's agreed upon by the union, I'd have to think that Fidel Goodell and his people have pretty strong lawyers and attorneys and an army of attorneys telling him, hey, you can do this. You're going to get away with it. And the courts are going to back you up. I think the NFL's in a good standing here, George.
And so what he's got is the $1 million that Texas Tech has already paid him.
Yep.
That he has. Now he's probably got legal fees out that you know what.
Yep.
But how much damage do you think this does to him having to wait a year?
I mean, an inordinate amount. If I were him, I would see if I could play in Canada this summer. I mean, just to do something. I'm being serious.
No, I said the same thing.
I would try to get on the field.
I'm with you.
I would try to get on the field. Or I'd say the NFL, hey, look, is this mean no forever? Does this mean no for a couple years? And I would try to get in that UFL to prove that I could play. I mean, he's got to get on the field somehow. And, ironically enough, I was thinking in jest that, he'd be a perfect Houston gambler in the USFL or in the UFL rather. The other thing, George, is if you stop and think about it for a second, I wonder what he does for income now. And does one of these betting services, do one of those betting services reach out to him to be a spokesperson where they pay him a couple $1 million just to make waves?
That gets into some Pete Rose kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, we're already there. That's what this guy is. This guy's, I thought the NFL would do it and sweep it under the rug, but this is something the NFL won't even look past. And look at James Pierce. He's back on the field after what happened with him back in the offseason. The NFL's way of glossing it over and hiding behind all their alleged good works. But this game-fixing, gambling stuff from a quarterback, that's a non-starter. It's an absolute non-starter.
This is a different ball of wax.
No doubt about it.
But it's not the last we're going to hear of this wax. So let's go to something really close to home. Nate Ament tonight will get drafted by somebody. Tony, from what you can tell, has his draft status gone up, down, stayed exactly where it was? Tell me what you think.
It's the strongest draft in years. Some people are calling it a generational class in terms of what's at the top. In an ordinary normal year, this guy's a top 5 pick. This year, this guy's going to go somewhere between probably 10 and 14, somewhere in that neighborhood. It wouldn't surprise me if the Dallas Mavericks take him tonight. It wouldn't surprise me if he falls back to Oklahoma City, who I think likes him. Nate Ament's going to be a really nice NBA player. It's not going to be overnight. He's not going to be a breakout star next year, but he'll be a solid NBA player. And once he builds his body, he's got the skills to be a great, great player in that league, George.
Is that basically the one knock is put on more weight and strength?
Sure. We saw that in the Southeastern Conference last year. And obviously at the NBA level, he'll get kind of beat on. Whether he's playing a stretch four or wing, it doesn't matter the position. He's going to get beat on at that level.
So I want to try this one on you. We're going to play general manager for a minute. So the Washington Wizards, and if you end up getting drafted by them, it's a fate worse than death.
Yes.
But they've got the number one pick.
Yeah.
And apparently it's down to DeBansa, who we've seen at BYU, and Peterson from Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about you, but I'm going with BYU here. The Kansas piece of this, I don't know that I really liked what I saw. Body language, not always great. How about you?
George, when a knock on a guy in college is that he doesn't want to answer the bell every game, why in the world would I want him in a 82-game situation where the minute he signs his name, he's going to be as rich as he's been? Now, granted, these guys make pretty good money in college now. Why in the world would anybody want to fool with that? Now, Peterson's got tantalizing ability, obviously, but there's no way. There's just too many red flags around that guy. He's a great player, though, George. He's a great player. But the problem is, great player for how long? How long can you keep him interested? How are you going to manage him? All those things. And if the guy has a little bit of success in the NBA, then it really becomes hard to manage him.
Oh, yeah. You know, the group I'm really interested in, Tony, and it's not like I'm a big fan, but I paid some attention to them early in the playoffs. The Hawks were the only team out there that gave the Knicks any level of trouble whatsoever. When they got rid of Trae Young, everybody down there says that was the cancer in the locker room. And what I saw was a really nice core of young talent down there.
Yeah.
And whoever it is they get, because apparently this draft is deep enough that whoever you get can play. I'm interested in what Atlanta does.
To your point, Trae Young's in a perfect spot in Washington, and a very unserious franchise. And he's just signed a new deal with him, which doesn't surprise me. He's a very unserious player. And I agree with you, George. I'll be curious to see where they go tonight, because they've got a pretty good young core down there right now. And the other thing that interests me is, who will the Heat find between now and the start of the season to help fill out their roster? Because I trust those guys. I trust their organization. They know how to find players.
Right.
They know how to find diamonds in the rough. And I wonder who we're going to see them involved with in the first, and when you get into the second round tonight, and then their free agent signings. They have a way of finding people. And by the way, it's very surprising that the Jimmy Haslam would buy the Bucks, and they would be having some disarray there with their superstar. That's a shock.
So he's traded Myles Garrett and Giannis within the span of 2 weeks?
That's right. 2 blockbuster trades.
Now, Parker, are you prepared? Because as you know, Tony has called out Kelly at times for not looking alert, for not being, game ready. So just know that.
I'm very alert right now because Tony, I wanted to ask you, didn't you have a guitar playing event this weekend? Because I saw Grant Ramey on Twitter posting something this weekend. So fill us a little bit more in on that.
I'm sitting in the park right now playing. I play out a lot. I play music around town. Yeah. And we had fun. We had a really fun gig. Rob Lewis, who used to be at VaultQuest, has bought a place here in town called Beard and Beer Market, and we played there Saturday night. It was a meeting of the alleged minds out there. Bunch of media people were out there. A meeting of the alleged minds.
Just to watch you play guitar?
I mean, we have, we sing songs and have fun. It's not just me, but yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
Listen,
I
Good
wanted to
community,
ask
my
you.
brother. Or
I'm
do you
sure
play
it was.
any? Do you play any music, or do you do anything in musical?
So I used to. My mom is a piano teacher, so I grew up playing the piano, and then I got into sports and just stopped playing the piano.
Well, nice, man. You ought to surprise her. Learn to play a stringed instrument. Come home and have a little duo with her.
She's very
Maybe.
musically gifted. She played the flute too.
Maybe
Nice.
sing Country Roads.
Exactly.
She could probably play country roads for us.
They belong in the SEC, I believe. Let's kick Missouri out tomorrow and bring in West Virginia.
I like that. So would it be a crime if Darius Acuff didn't go in the top 5 tonight? Because I think the latest mock draft I saw had him going 8 or 9.
That's how deep the draft is. Again,
it is. It's loaded.
The Acuffs, the Immense of the world, those guys are way up there. The Phylon kid from Alabama came back, made several $1 million this year coming back. I don't know that he improved his draft stock at all when you look at where he's going in the draft tonight.
18th
Now,
best prospect on ESPN.
Obviously, he's a better player, but if he's taken somewhere in the early 20s, I don't know that he's really increased his draft stock. But who can blame a kid for taking $4 or $5 million last year to stay in college? I don't blame him for that.
That works pretty good in the bank account,
I'd say.
So after Nate Ament, who's the next most likely Vol to go? Felix Okpara or Jacoby Gillespie?
Gillespie would go next, and then Okpara maybe at the end of the second round. Gillespie somewhere in that probably 41 to 50 range, and then maybe Okpara at the end of it.
Okay. So George and I were speculating a little bit at the beginning of yesterday's show about why Dusty May left to go coach the Mavericks. What's your speculation?
He is sick of the unprofessional nature of college basketball. Again, it's unprofessional sports. Danny White last week here said the only path forward is collective bargaining, and why we're turning any of this to the federal government and hoping for them to save us is foolhardy. He said we already have the mechanisms in place to get these parties in a room, get a deal ironed out, give the players a voice, give them full benefits, treat them like employees as they are. I was proud he said it because he's right.
So we don't need this bill for collective bargaining because I know the bill paves the way for it. But do you think we can get it without the bill?
No. All that act does, the both of them, they're trying to roll back something that's never going to happen. Those players are never, and I mean ever, going to settle for, unless it's you sit down and you collective bargain with them and give them something in return. Those players are never, ever, ever going to give up the right to transfer after each year, unless you sit down with them and give them something in return. And until you admit there's a problem and you act like there's no problem, you're not going to find solutions.
We've seen the power shift so much because the coaches used to have all the power. Now it's the players who have all the power. And I agree with everybody that says we need collective bargaining. But to your point, I just don't, if I'm a player, why would I want to give up all the millions and the freedom to transfer? Like, I just don't see a way we can get past that unless
the way you get the player. No, it's the federal government has zero answers. The way to get the players to the table is you have to appeal to a wide swath of those folks. It's only a few people that are being heavily enriched in this deal. It's the people at the top. But there are a lot more players in football than the stars. And in the basketball world, a very few of those guys are making lots and lots of money, and most everybody's making decent money. But you got to appeal to the decent money people and say, hey, you need to get in here for the greater good. I think you could accomplish that. Why the colleges don't want to give these kids a seat at the table is one of life's great mysteries to me. But they're going to take their car and run it right off the track. They're going to burn out these billionaires. Hey, listen, the billionaires that were funding the Saudi Golf League got bored very quickly.
Didn't they, though?
Mm-hmm. Everybody
That's a
thinks
really
these people
good
won't
point.
get bored. Hey, everybody thinks, George, people won't get bored. And trust me, those are the billionaires of the billionaires. And they were like, wait a second here. Why are we giving these guys this money for substandard golf? What are we doing? And the thing I'll never understand about people that give the kinds of money they're giving to these kids is, what's in it for you? You don't have any equity. This is not a business. You're not profiting from it. Besides the ego stroke, what are we doing here? But it's a crazy age we live in. Danny White's right. They better figure it out. Or I think within 5 years, they're going to burn people out if they're not careful.
No, he is right. I've listened to him talk about that. The problem that I have with the bill is I think I'm the only one on the show that thinks it's going to pass. But with bipartisan stuff, obviously it's not going to be perfect. My problem with that is it's putting the power back in the hands of the NCAA, who made the mess in the first place. Wouldn't it make more sense just to get those people out of the room and put people in charge who actually know what they're doing?
Well, they're the ones that are pushing this legislation. The bottom line is this. As long as the NCAA has a seat at the table, it's not going to work. As long as the federal government's in charge of it, it's not going to happen. The courts are going to slap it down. The minute they voted in the law, somebody's going to take them to court, and they're going to say, you people didn't even have a say in this, in the formation of this, which is absolutely true. Tommy Tuberville is embarrassing himself with his thing. He wants to go back to like 1987, this draconian stuff. Hey, listen, the game's over. Let's just admit what this thing is. The game's over, and college sports can still exist in some other mutation, but it's not going to be under the auspices of the NCAA. It's just not. Their days are done. And if Brendan Sorsby's deal didn't end up in federal court like it did, that kid was going to play this fall. That's how little standing the NCAA has right now. They've got
Can
nothing.
you imagine what a circus that was going to be?
George, I was cheering for it because I want the NCAA exposed for what and who they are.
So if this bill doesn't pass and we can't collectively bargain because the players don't want to give up their power, how do you clean up the mess?
Players eventually will come to the table. The players eventually will see that what these universities are making from these TV deals, and that next TV deal is going to be huge, and they can get a cut of it every year with some kind of profit sharing or some kind of like they do in these other leagues where you have a cap and this is the percentage of it that you get, and it's divided up amongst the players. And I don't know, do we have like a 60-team deal and a common draft? I don't know what it looks like. But what we're doing right now, Dusty May left. The guy at Duke probably thought about leaving Shire. I saw a report today where the guy at Florida is not long for college basketball. The guy at Tommy Lloyd is not long for Arizona. When your brightest coaches, young coaches, don't want to be in your sport and they're making bank, that should tell you something.
Are they following the Brad Stevens route? You know, guys like Dusty May and maybe guys like Todd Golden, John Shire. You think they'll follow the Brad Stevens blueprint of going from Butler straight to the NBA?
I mean, look, I just think these guys went out of college basketball because it's stupid. And it's a dumb sport right now. It's pick up basketball.
My last thing for you, what's your interest level been in the World Cup?
I love the World Cup. I wish Italy would make it. This is 3 straight times that the Azor has been on the outside looking in, and everybody else is in the damn thing. So Italy, quit making meatballs. quit making pasta, quit making spaghetti and linguine, and put together a pretty good soccer team that can qualify in 4 years.
Are the Greeks in this tournament?
I
No,
don't think
the
so.
Greeks are up in a
Even
restaurant
Bosnia and
somewhere, George,
Herzegovina's in there.
enjoying
Yeah.
feta
Happy
cheese.
birthday.
No Greeks, no Italians. I mean, what are we doing, George?
I don't know. We're not very good athletes. We had a very unscientific poll a couple of days ago on the show, revealing the top 5 Greek athletes. Giannis's brother, Nick Markakis,
Wow.
Timothy Koutras, and number 5 was me.
George, I was going to put you ahead of number 4, if I could pronounce his name.
Timothy Koutras. No.
Hey, he ran a 4.340.
Yeah, Timothy's a 3-time All-OVC defensive back. We're not getting ahead of him.
Well, I'm surprised Kelly Holcomb didn't find a way to sneak himself on that list somehow.
He's not Greek.
Yeah, but he kind of wants to be, if you look at him.
You're right. So I'm assuming there's got to be 1 or 2 people in Middle Tennessee who have not turned on your show in Knoxville. How must they do that?
Well, you can check me out over at TonyBasilio.com or tclub.team. And George, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come and hang with you on this glorious Tuesday, my friend.
Hey, will I see you Thursday?
No, I'm going to Pennsylvania for my niece's wedding. And with us Paisans, George, I'm driving 650 miles because it's all about Famiglia. She's getting married Friday afternoon. I'm driving up Thursday night.
You're a good something or other.
I'm an uncle.
You're a good uncle.
There you go.
Talk to you.
Thank you, boys. Bye.
See you, Tony.
Tony Basilio, his weekly visit here on the show. Normally, I try to schedule the second guest at 4:00, but it didn't work out that way today. Evan Brad's the Belmont basketball coach who could really get into some NBA and draft talk. Will join us at 4:20. I'm going to open the phone lines a little early. I am looking for 4 red-blooded Americans who may have some things on their mind. If it turns out the way I want it to, we'll do this segment, and then we'll start the 4:00 hour with a few more phone calls, and then Evan Brads will join us at 4:20. Here are the phone numbers: 615-759-9949. Again, 615-759-9949. I'm looking for 4 red-blooded Americans who have the ability to talk sports and have a strong opinion. We'll go to the break. Your calls are next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to his city.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Clarksville, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises.
And the Nashville Cats.
The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Yeah, we're taking some phone calls a little earlier than normal, but I appreciate the fact that we've got 4 of you on the line. So let's get this party started. Jeff in Murfreesboro, you're the leadoff hitter. Hello, Jeff.
What are you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
I just wanted to one thing I want to tell you about Georgia. Here in a few weeks, I know I talked to you a couple weeks ago about vintage baseball at the Hermitage on July the 11th on a Saturday from 10 to 4. They're going to have vintage baseball over there. There's going to be 4 teams. The Stones River Scouts, which are a team in Murfreesboro, the Nashville Maroons, and there's a team called the Quick Steps, and there's a team it's called the Cumberland Club. We're going to be over there playing. I guess they're going to play 2 games that day, or 3 games. I'm not sure, but it's going to be from 10 to 4 on that Saturday weekend after July the 4th at the Hermitage. They're going to play for the Hermitage Cup, or they're going to play for it. So if anybody wants to go watch baseball in the 1860s, where you play with your bare hands and you throw it, you catch it with your bare hands, you want to watch that, watch the early days of baseball, watch they play in period clothing and everything. That want to watch history of baseball. It's really, they play in, the league plays in all kinds of different Civil War sites. They play at the Hermitage, Rippavilla, Columbia. They play in up here. They play at Oaklands Park, Murfreesboro. They play different other places too around Middle Tennessee and West Tennessee. They got about 9 or 10 different teams all over the state. Chattanooga has teams. Nashville does. Jackson had one this year, but it started with 2 teams several years ago. It's really grown. So people want to go watch that, they can. And also, George, I listened a little bit to Dick Gabriel yesterday, and I don't know too much about Stein as far as football goes. I'm still kind of ticked at Barnhart. Of course, he's on his way out now, so I can't say too many things bad about him. But I'm still kind of ticked out the way he treated Stoops. It's going to take me a while to get used to Stein and his way of doing things. I will come around, but it's going to take a while. How they'll do this year, I have no idea. I guess I should say if I would take 7-5 right now, or 6-6 and go to a bowl game right now and be done with it. Now, I don't know. I know they got a tough schedule with 9 conference games and all that stuff. So I mean, how they do, I don't know. I know he's been doing good on the recruiting trail and got a lot of good players. So we'll have to see about that. And also, when he says volleyball is a non-revenue sport, don't believe him. Kentucky was national runner-up last year at Texas A&M. If you watched the Final Four last year, Georgia, the place was sold out in the Final Four last year. It was on national TV on ABC. Did you get a chance to watch any of that?
Yeah, and there are scenarios where there's schools that do make money. Across the board, no, but there are schools that do.
No, I mean, well, some schools don't charge admission, some do. I Kentucky. I mean, let me tell you what Kentucky. They're non-conference schedule.
Hey,
They're
Jeff,
going to the Bahamas.
Jeff, I got 30 seconds, so fly through it.
I'll let you go. Thank you.
I'm sorry I got to do that. I want to ask the others. Peter in Shelbyville, you'll start us in the 4 o'clock hour. Then Eric and Tony, I told the truth. Apparently, we went a little long with Tony Basilio. 3 o'clock hour is in the books on the George Plaster Show.
At Electronic Express, 4th of July savings are happening now. From TVs and appliances to computers, gaming, and audio, you'll find great deals throughout the store and online. The more you buy, the more you save, with up to $1,200 in appliance rebates on qualifying purchases from top brands. Plus, buying local has its perks, including 24 months interest-free financing and free delivery on thousands of items. Shop in-store or at electronicexpress.com.
Johnny Garrett's not some out-of-touch D.C. politician. Johnny Garrett's a Tennessean, a Christian conservative, and a proud father of 3 who's sick of the far left ruining our country with their radical policies. Conservative Johnny Garrett is proudly pro-life, pro-Trump to his core, and will always put America first. In Congress, Garrett will fight to lower taxes, cut government waste, and will always back the blue and support law and order. Garrett's fought for us in Nashville, and that's what he'll do in Congress. No to biological boys playing girl sports. No to communist China buying our farmland. And no to criminal illegals invading our state. Because with Johnny Garrett, what you see is what you get. It's time to bring more Tennessee to D.C. Send Trump conservative Johnny Garrett to Congress.
I'm Johnny Garrett, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Johnny Garrett for Congress.
A DePauw University education goes beyond the classroom. Here you'll explore ideas, challenge yourself, and connect what you learn to the world. Ready to think boldly and lead with purpose? Learn more at depaw.edu.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobus. Our forecast taking us into the low 80s later on this afternoon. Increasing sunshine. Humidity is low and a little breeze out of the north. Enjoy it because the heat and humidity pick up going toward the weekend. Back up to 87 degrees tomorrow. Showers, storms, and 90s for Thursday.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Man, the kids really love that playhouse, huh?
It's not just a child's playhouse. It's a rental property. Kids, off Gary's roof. He's got a movie to stream in there.
Wait, someone actually lives in there?
Lives, works, and thrives. That playhouse is basically a smart home now.
Your Wi-Fi reaches the playhouse. That's amazing.
Of course, we're gagillionaires. It reaches everywhere.
Can I check it out? I'd love to get in there.
Sorry, booked solid. Gary's got it locked down for another 6 months.
What about the treehouse?
That's Marie's.
Who's Marie?
Our neighbor who's renting the treehouse. She's up there streaming her British baking show.
All right. What about the shed?
But have your people call my people, okay?
You have people?
It's just me.
Live without limits. Get home internet from AT&T and cover your whole house, even your playhouse turned rental property. AT&T Extended Wi-Fi coverage service required. Limited availability. Visit att.com/internet to learn more.
Across Tennessee, we show up for each other. It's just who we are. But right now, thousands of our neighbors are waiting for a second chance at life. Organ donation is the ultimate act of volunteering, resulting in saved lives. One donor can save up to 8 people and help 75 more. That's powerful. That's lasting. And it only takes 2 minutes to sign up. Take 2 minutes today to save lives tomorrow. Visit donatelifetn.org and step up, Tennessee.
Parents, whether it's academics, athletics, or life choices, your kids count on your guidance. That's why the Game Nashville Sports Network and Nashville Thrives have partnered to provide free resources to help parents talk with their children about marijuana, THC, CBD, and substance use. Get facts, conversation starters, and helpful tools at thegamenashville.com/parents. That's thegamenashville.com/parents. Sponsored by Nashville Thrives. This project is funded under a grant contract with the State of Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
Discover the all-new enhanced kitchen notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Savor Southern comfort with a refreshed feel, an enhanced menu, and of course, the legendary biscuit bar you love. From farm-fresh ingredients to reimagined classics, each dish celebrates Nashville's rich culinary heritage. Whether it's a leisurely breakfast or a hearty lunch, every plate feels like home. Stop by any day to experience a meal that's truly music to your taste buds. Kitchen notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers, and George Kelly's with us. So, Kelly
Is
here
he
with us
really?
for the 4 o'clock hour. How's it going, Kelly?
Good, man. How you guys doing? Y'all miss me?
Kelly, we missed you.
I bet you did.
Yes.
All
I
right,
could
here
not
we
be
go.
more sincere.
I'm sure you. That doesn't sound very sincere, George. I can hear it in your voice.
I meant it not to be.
Tony also said that he missed you, by the way.
Oh yeah, I bet. I bet.
All right, back to our stat of the day. When was the last time a team from the SEC did not win the Men's College World Series? Reminder, they've won 7 in a row.
So if they've won 7 in a row, that would go back toward 2019. Correct?
I think
Correct.
Yeah.
Kelly, I don't know why I'm thinking Oklahoma State. Who was the team? It was Oregon State.
I'm thinking Oregon State. I'm thinking
we're going
UCLA
Oregon
or Oregon State, but I think it was Oregon State.
We're going Oregon State. Put it on the board.
You would be correct. 2018
Yes.
Oregon State. They were in the Pac-12 at this time. RIP.
Kelly, let's
Yeah,
be
RIP.
honest. We have been killing it in recent weeks.
We have.
Did y'all get it yesterday too?
I've enjoyed these. What was?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what was yesterday.
It was a Monday.
Oh,
I
it
know
was. When
what
was the last
question?
time the U.S. Or how far they made it? Like the furthest they made it in the World Cup?
No, we lost. We did not get that one because it was the
No, we did
semifinals.
not.
We thought it was the quarterfinals.
Shame on us.
So
Anyway,
it was
Kelly,
2018 because the 2020 tournament was canceled due to COVID. So 7 years ago would have been 2018.
Kelly, anyway, you'll be thrilled to know a little change of plans today. Normally, I try to schedule the 4 o'clock guest at the top of the hour, but Evan Brads, Belmont's basketball coach, will join us at 4:20. I asked for some phone calls. The people have responded. Peter in Shelbyville, welcome to the show.
Thanks, George. Thanks for allowing me to come on. I'm so glad to hear Kelly's voice. I knew he was a Friday snob, and I was about to call him a Tuesday snob.
Well, Peter, I was getting injections into my knee, so I'm not a snob, but thank you.
You can still call him a Tuesday snob. There's no rule against it.
Well, anyways, I'm super glad to hear your voice, Kelly.
We all are.
Oh, absolutely. George. Everyone is. But with the breaking news of Giannis getting traded to the Miami Heat and talks of them being a contender all of a sudden, I mean, I look at the depth of this Miami Heat team. They have no one outside of Bam and Giannis. I mean, you could consider Norman Powell, but there's restrictions with that, him being in free or an unrestricted free agent. Where is all this coming from of them being a contender? Because I can name 6 to 7 teams who are a lot better than this Miami Heat team currently.
So Kelly, I'm in agreement with the caller. I think Vegas has jumped the gun a little bit because they've come out with, Miami Heat are the third best contender in the East a year from now. I think it's a little early, but I will say this: the ace in the hole is they got Pat Riley and they've got Eric Spoelstra, and those two have proven to be pretty darn good 1-2 combinations. So about the time we want to stick them in the gutter, let's think about it.
That's what I was going to say, George. The best thing they got going for them is their general manager and their head coach. There's no question. So I don't know. Giannis is that type of dude. He's that type of player. I don't know. I don't know. We'll just have to see how it turns out. But Giannis is a great player. He's won an NBA championship with the Bucks. But I guess we'll just have to see how it goes in the future with him.
So the
best thing
projected
he's got going for him, Peter, is he's Greek.
I mean, hey, George, you'd be happy with that. You are 100% happy with that.
Well, he certainly rises our athletic ability a step above what it is, which is just the side of the gutter. Anything else on your end?
Well, no, I agree with y'all. I think Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra running that organization lifts them up in the talks of them being a contender, especially with what they did, winning 2 championships with the super team of LeBron, D. Wade, Chris Bosh. Like, they're able to do that. They did it with Jimmy Butler when they went up against the Nuggets back in 23, I believe. So they're able to build a championship team. It's just hard because they're giving a payload to Giannis, and now they, I believe, only have $18 million to give for veteran minimums and to other players that I don't know will cut it in them being a contender, especially after this year. But we'll have to see. We'll definitely have to see.
Appreciate your phone call. Let me go to Eric on
George.
line 3. Eric, what do you got for us?
George, first of all, day late because I didn't call yesterday. Just wanted to hope that all the fathers had a great Father's Day over the weekend and everything. Cherish your dads while they're still around.
Amen.
Hey, George, so 3 things, and then I'll get off, so I want to leave you have time to get stoned. But the first thing is about the NBA trade. I'm wondering, because a lot of people are thinking maybe that Miami may have gave up too much by giving up 3 first-round draft picks to get Giannis. I mean, I'm hoping to work out because you're doing that, hopefully win the championship. And, of course, he's been banged up and injured the last couple of years, and some are worried about his age. But, I'm not saying they don't know what they're doing. I do believe Pat Riley and Spoelstra do know what they're doing, but it's just going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. But another aspect of the trade, of course, didn't happen for the Celtics. They were all prepared to give up 2 first-round draft picks and Jaylen Brown. That trade didn't happen. It's going to be interesting to see how the Celtics could smooth things over with him. But there's rumors that they're still going to try and trade him, George. And I just want to get your thoughts on those 2 things I just brought up.
Yeah, I think he is going to get traded. I'm not sure it'll happen around this draft, but it sounds like he can't handle the fact that he's either a 1A or a 2 behind Tatum. Well, what's going to change? Nothing. And if he's going to bitch about that, I'd get him out of there too.
Yeah, because they're thinking now that, according to Brad Stevens, they think now that they're not better than the Knicks. So it's just going to be interesting to see what moves they made. George, the second thing I wanted to talk to you, of course, has been talked about a lot, not on the airwaves, but of course been being talked about, is Serena Williams coming back to tennis at 44. She's going to play at Wimbledon, her, of course, in Venus, doubles as well as singles. And this is just my take on it. I think there's 2 reasons why she's doing it. One, I definitely believe she wants to do it because she wants her daughter to see her play and do this. But I've heard some rumors, and I don't know what you think on this, that the reason that she's doing this, and I don't know if she can, she's desperately wants to break the Margaret Court record. She wants to tie her and then surpass her. Now, as a wild card, 44 years of age, I don't know if she's going to be able to do that or not. But those are the reasons I've heard, and just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, we're a country intrigued by comebacks. and 44 years old and hadn't been out there in a while. And, can they possibly make it work? I mean, it's a cool story until you go out there and you get beat up by some tomato can. And then you kind of have to face reality. Now, whether she's at that point or not, I don't know. But the whole I want my daughter to see me only works if she can pull it off. If she gets beat by some tomato can, she needs to have a plan B, Kelly, which is get out quick.
Eric, let me ask you a question. What does that do to her legacy if she comes back and she just flops? Because she's 44 years old. Like, what does that do to her legacy, you think?
I don't know. A lot of people are clamoring for to see it and all excited about it in the sports media. They're not thinking about the other thing because I guess they don't want to because they have this idealized version of her and stuff like that. Because she's going to be competing against a lot of these younger players who are between about 16 and 25 years of age. Because I heard a story, I guess it was yesterday, where they said it was either, I can't remember if it was either Martina Leverton or Billie Jean King had been out of tennis for something like 10 years. They came back at 47. They won. I mean, they lost the first game, I think, first match at the French Open, went to Wimbledon, won at Wimbledon, but then lost the next time. But I heard the story. I can't remember who it was, or that somebody, one of those, I couldn't remember if it was Billie Jean King and Martina Navratilova, came back after being out of tennis for 10 years. So, and this right now is about 4 because she, of course, was pregnant, had a child, and just dealing with all sorts of stuff. I mean, you wish her luck, but it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. And, guys, the last thing, and then I'll get off, and that's the Jeffrey Simmons contract, what he signed. And I'm real happy for him. He had a lot of positive things to say about the Titans organization because, of course, you'd heard last couple of years, a lot of people were hoping they would trade him and try to get draft capital. I'm glad they didn't, and he's got a huge contract where now he's even a higher player than Chris Jones. A lot of people feel like he's a centerpiece, and it looks like he's going to retire Titan. Just want to get your thoughts on that, guys. We'll get off. Let you get some other callers. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Hey, thank you. So, Kelly, what was your opinion of that?
I totally lost my train of thought. What was he talking about, George? What
About,
was Eric talking
about Jeffrey Simmons.
Oh, Jefferson. Yeah. I don't know, but he's the biggest name guy on the Titans team, and he's been pretty consistent. I'm not a – here's the deal. I know that guys nowadays miss the OTAs. They miss all these mini camps. They miss all that stuff, and I totally understand that. I just know that it was frowned upon when I played, and you would – I know that we all know that he can play. We all understand that, but sometimes there's more to it than, being the big guy on the team but not showing up. Like, there's a leadership role that you want to show the younger guys just how to do it. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to do that at training camp, and lo and behold, if I had that kind of leverage and could miss OTAs and mini camps, I might think about it too. Now, I know I would have never done that because I'm a quarterback, but still, I'm fine with it because he deserves whatever he gets because he's been kind of the mainstay for the Tennessee Titans the last 5 years. Everybody knows for the Tennessee Titans, who do they think about? Jeffrey Simmons. That's who they think about. But my whole thing is the leadership deal. And when you do things like that, you're really showing other guys. This new age of football, George, is beyond me. I can't say that I like it, but that's where we're at. And that's the only reservations I have about all that.
Okay, let's go to Tony in Nolensville. Tony, what's shaking?
Good afternoon, gentlemen, all three of you. George, yesterday we were talking a little bit about Vanderbilt and the portal situation. And then I happened to read a couple of articles. They've got 4 players that they've signed now. 2 of them come from, big schools, one from Maryland. And then the shortstop, second baseman from Missouri, I think he's going to be a good addition. And then they've got this new kid coming in. He was a home run, second in home runs from Farley Dickinson. That's going to be a whole different big jump from Farley Dickinson to playing in the SEC, but he did hit 32 home runs at Farley Dickinson. So I think they're working on it. But what's still interesting, as we've all talked on this show, many people about the pitching woes, and they have not signed no pitching yet. So
Yeah, and that's
it's really telling the tale.
Yeah, I don't view that as a positive because it was obvious last season that what was once their big strength no longer is.
And George, the thing that I really question it, and you're a baseball guru, I question the evaluation or the recruiting process behind the scenes of the portal players, of the pitching and the portal players, that the position players. I just really have questions about the evaluation and what goes on behind that. And that's behind the scenes. We don't know. But Kelly, going down another road, I don't know if you heard it, you've been to the doctor and all, but today they put the squeeze on Sorsby and told him there's no supplemental draft this year. So he is going to be forced to do something, and then Parker had it in his updates before you come on. So the NFL is, like George said, is saying, we're done with you. We don't want no part of you. So I'll let y'all talk about that. And one last thing I've got for you, George. PK going into the Hall of Fame. My next Predator, I think, in the Hall of Fame is Shea Weber or Mark Fisher. I'm going to let you decide on that and talk about that. You know a lot more about that, but that's where I think the next Predator might even be Petey. So we'll see. I'll let you talk about it. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks. To me, it's Shea Weber, who had a terrific career. Unfortunately, got curtailed a little bit at the end with knee stuff. But let's go to Sorsby, Kelly, because you've just come on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had heard this.
I had not, man. I have not.
So it feels like the NFL, and officially what they've said is, look, we're not going to put you in a supplemental draft. Get ready for the 2027 draft, which feels like them saying, we don't really want to deal with this mess. I think a lawsuit is coming, and my suspicion is that your Players Association will probably be helping Sorsby.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy, George. But I know Tony said that, but he was probably going to get you talked about it. Maybe he was going to get suspended if he did get into the supplemental draft anyway. So time heals a lot of wounds. Time heals things. If he can stay clean and get out of the spotlight a little bit, if he's got talent, the NFL will take him at some point. I don't think this is the end of all this, but who knows? I mean, you could be one of those young men that are blackballed. I hope that doesn't happen because everybody deserves a second chance. But man, when you talk about all the things that he's done, in the short period of time, you really have to question if you really want something like that in your locker room. And I think that's what the NFL is looking at right now.
Yeah, we're going to go to the break. I want to ask Wes and Franklin. Wes, if you can hang with me, Evan Brads from Belmont is going to join us, and then we'll be glad to take your phone call around 4:40. Otherwise, if you need to get back off the phone and then call back, love to hear from you. Evan Brads talking about tonight's NBA draft when we come back on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Bowling night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, we are back on this Tuesday afternoon. The NBA draft is tonight at 7 o'clock, and it's the perfect time to talk to Belmont basketball coach Evan Brads, who we'll bring up here in just a second. I say that because Evan not only has had experience on the high Division I level, but also worked for both the Boston Celtics and the Utah Jazz. Did it help to tell them you knew me?
That's what I lead off every interview with. Do you guys know that I know George Plaster?
That's got to be special. So let me start like this. What's this been like so far for you?
It's been busy. The old saying is drinking through a fire hose a little bit, so it's been nonstop around here, nonstop in a good way. This place is extremely special. I feel very lucky to be here, to be in this seat. But, it's been busy in a good way, from little kids camps to recruiting to scheduling, all that good stuff. So, it's good stress to have.
Evan, take me through. I think fans would want to know this. In the NBA, you hear oftentimes they're not necessarily just drafting on what you've seen in college, but they're drafting on their projection of what somebody's going to be. Kind of talk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you always hear the production versus potential debate, right? They don't want to see just what you've done so far, but, projecting to see what you will do in the future, I think is what a lot of teams do. And I think it's really difficult if we're all being honest, because us four could sit here and, we could say, George Plaster's done this so far, but what's he going to be like in 5 years? And that's really difficult to do. So, a lot of background information goes into that. You'd be shocked with how many NBA scouts come to college practices, how many phone calls they make. And, you just try to make, as much get as much information as you can and make the best decision that you can when it comes to projecting, 5 years down the line.
Deep down, I thought Giannis would end up in Boston. Didn't work out that way. He's now a member of the Miami Heat. Do you think that affects the draft at all tonight?
Yeah, I'm so out of the loop. I don't have social media or any of that. So I guess that happened last night, but I found out about it this morning at like 11 o'clock. So I think they obviously had to get rid of some picks for that. So, it could change, how Milwaukee goes about their business. But, I think, a lot of the research goes into this and, a lot of information gathering goes into all that. So, team by team, there's a lot of really, really smart people in the NBA, and I'm sure that everyone's going to try to make the best decision that they can.
So you know what's going on at number one, Washington, who probably has already internally made their decision. They either go Debansa, who I really like. Every time I saw him at BYU, I was like, wow, this kid's a stud. Or Peterson, who is just equally full of ability, but I'm not as convinced of the mental makeup. What do you think Washington does?
Yeah, I mean, the top of the draft is extremely talented. Like you said, every time you see those guys play, you're just extremely impressed in some way or another. For me, it's hard to put myself in their shoes because it's, having the number one pick is great, but it's also, a lot of pressure in a lot of ways. But, I was extremely impressed when I saw both of them play. Sounds like, all over the internet, they probably made their decision, but they seem to be going in the Debansta route. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
What would you have told NBA people about the kids you coached at Duke who may or may not be involved tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you're speaking about like Cam, and
Sure.
Isaiah. Yeah, I mean, you start with Cam.
By the way, I can do the evaluation on Boozer. I don't need your help.
Yeah,
He's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, he's just the ultimate winner, the ultimate professional at such a young age. To see his day-to-day approach was unbelievable. I mean, as impressive as a human being at age 18 as it comes. Isaiah Evans, has an NBA skill. You talk about his ability to shoot the ball. I'd never heard Cameron so loud as when he hit that shot against Florida. So he hit a lot of big shots for us this year, and he continued to get better at some things that, not a lot of people give him a lot of credit for. So watching him grow was awesome. And then you talk about a guy like Malik Brown, who was Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC for a reason. He can guard all over the court. On offense, he's an underrated passer, playmaker, a guy who can, play at that 4 or 5 spot and get others involved. So, those three guys, you talk about the talent level is extremely high, and to see them up close and personal, it was an unbelievable year at Duke, and I feel extremely lucky for that.
Kelly, what do you got for Evan?
I was going to ask you, since we're talking NBA stuff, like when you were in the NBA, Evan, like, because being in the NFL, I've had this happen and I've seen guys, but like, I want to know what goes on to the meetings, because there's always sometime there's a questionable guy that you really like, that is really athletic, really talented, but he's a little shady on, away from the game. And that going in. Have you seen guys say, hey, we can handle him, we'll go ahead and draft him, or maybe putting guys or putting people in the organization around him to say, hey, the head coach says, hey, you're the one responsible for him, you got to keep him in line. Have you seen that happen?
Yeah, I think to the first part of what you said, I think it goes into the information gathering that the front offices do. The amount of phone calls, the amount of practices, the amount of games they go watch, the amount of people they talk to. It's really impressive when you really, get up close to it. They try to get as much information and, make the best decision possible, not just from like what you're saying on the court, but off the court as well. And then when you do draft someone, the places I've been, they get assigned to like an assistant coach to be kind of like their, let's say workout guy, on the court and stuff like that. And then, the staffs in the NBA, they're big, right? So you have your nutritionists, you have your chefs, you have your weight coaches, you have your sports performance people. So there's a lot of people that, organizations put on these young players, and to help them in that transition go as smooth as possible. Now, there is ups and downs for everyone, right? There's no such thing as a smooth transition. Like, it's difficult. Like, going from college to the NBA is difficult. So there are ups and downs. But, every organization just makes the best decision they can. If one takes a chance on a kid here or one takes a chance on a kid there, they're doing what's best for, their organization, right? And they're going to do everything they can to help that player succeed.
So I guess it was yesterday we saw Dusty May, do what he did. He takes FAU to the Final Four, really good coach. Then he goes to Michigan. He stays there 2 years and wins a national championship. Mavs head coach. Do you, because, they talked about the guy that you were under, Coach Shire. They talked about him being looked at from some organizations. Do you think that'll start happening more in college basketball with the NIL stuff going on? Because, the NIL stuff in college, and you're in it now, but like there's really no rules at this point. Where you go to the NBA, at least they got a collective bargaining deal where there are rules. Can you see that happening with some of these coaches now, just saying, hey, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go where at least we have some structure with this. Can you see that happening a little more?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. You just talked about Dusty and, John. I mean, you talk about two of the best coaches in college basketball.
Absolutely.
Or two of the best, coaches, period. I think from an NBA perspective, they don't care where you come from as long as you're, they think you're
Right.
the best at what you did, right? I think it's going to be a case by case, I think there's pros and cons to both. And I think that, each individual is going to have to make their own personal decision. Right. And, to be honest, like we're basketball coaches at the end of the day. There's pros and cons to the NBA. There's pros and cons to college basketball.
Right.
And, I think, Coach May is unbelievable. That game we had was it in DC versus Michigan?
DC. Oh, yeah.
Game. I mean, he's an incredible coach. You see the things he's done. I wish him nothing but the best. But I think it's just going to come down to what each coach wants and what each situation presents, because there's just so many different levels to all this. And, it's just going to be a case-by-case thing.
I was reading an article when Kobe Bryant was still here, Lord rest his soul. But when he was still here, he had an article talking about how European players, had the fundamentals of the game, and they were used to not being selfish and used to passing the ball. And he said they're kind of surpassing what the American guys do. How have players changed, like from college now? Because it's so much of a scoring deal now. There's defense is hard to come by sometimes. You still have to play it, but how have players changed over the years to now?
Yeah, that's an unbelievable question. I think nowadays the players are more skilled than ever.
Yep.
No matter where you're from. I see some of these things that college basketball players are doing, and I know I couldn't do it. That's for sure. And I think it's like every single year, you see the players get better and better at certain things. You see some of the shot making these days in college basketball, and it continues to grow. I think these players nowadays have had so much access to so much basketball in their life, whether it be like on TV, streaming, Twitter, Instagram. They have had so much access to so much basketball, and that they're just continuing to get more skilled. Especially, I think about the shot making, it just continues to get more impressive every single year.
Yeah. So my last thing, and this kind of pertains to you. I asked you earlier when we had the first conversation when you took over at Belmont. I asked you, what was the first thing you did when you got there? But now I want to ask you, being a head coach and being the head guy, what is something that you can tell our listeners that when you got there, you didn't realize, like it was kind of surprising to you what a head coach has to do? What is one of those things that was kind of surprising and kind of shocked you being a head coach?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just all the decisions that you have to make on a day-to-day basis. They all fall on you, whether it's on the court or off the court. And, last year or the years prior in the NBA, as a young assistant, I thought I had all the answers. I thought I was ready to make every single decision. And then next thing you know, everyone's coming into your office wanting to know about this, that, or the other. And you're like, man, I have no idea. So it's just the pure amount of decisions that you have to make on the day-to-day basis. That was a little shocking to me, especially, thinking that I had a handle on everything. But, that's why you hire a good staff and they help you out as much as possible and take as much off the plate as they can. And, so far those guys have been great for me.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Jon Scheyer, and I have no idea if you'll actually be able to answer this question, because do you think that he'll actually leave college at some point to go to the NBA, or do you think he'll follow the blueprint of Coach K, who had several opportunities to go to the NBA if he wanted to, but he chose to stay at Duke, won multiple national championships, and he gained respect by the NBA, coaching the Olympic team and all of that? Do you think Coach Scheyer would follow that same blueprint, or do you see him going and leaving and go to the NBA?
Better be careful with that question.
I know. That's why I preface. I don't know if you'll be able to answer or not.
I think it's just like that personal decision for John that he'll have to make at some point, right? There's only one person in this world that can probably answer that question to a T. The one thing I will say is I think John's one of the brightest minds in our game, and I would bet that he'll have success whichever one he does, and whether he goes or stays, he's going to continue to win and win at a really high level, in my opinion, whether it's in the NBA or in college basketball.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday and touched on it a lot during the college basketball season. You said it. I agree with you. One of the greatest coaches we have in college basketball. But the fact that, he's had a couple of mishaps in the Elite Eight versus UConn, in the Final Four 2 years ago, blowing the lead versus Houston, how would you describe that pressure that's starting to mount?
Well, I think there's pressure regardless once you get to, the final couple rounds of, the Elite Eight, Final Four, all that stuff. I think it shows how difficult it is to win, and, John's as hard on himself as anyone that I know, so he's probably, one of those guys that, his pressure comes mostly from within. But, you get to those levels, the pressure is real. But I think that for him, it just shows like how hard he does work and how everything does have to go right at the very end. Think about our Elite Eight game, this year at UConn. There's, 70 something possessions in an average college basketball game. And, we could probably point to 2 or 3 that seemed like the biggest deal in the world. But all of those possessions added up on top of each other, are why you win or lose a game. So I think I'm going to keep saying it, it's not easy. Winning is hard. It's a Coach Stevens line. He used to say it all the time. And, I think that's a great example of those last 2 years in the Final Four and the Elite Eight. It's really difficult, and a lot of things have to go, right, and everything has to be aligned to win at that high level.
So I was looking at ESPN earlier, and the top, I think it's 10 out of the top 11 prospects in the NBA draft are all freshmen. Is that kind of going back to what you were talking about, how the skill in this day and age of the current players never been higher?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you just see the talent of some of those guys. We've talked about a couple of them, and, what'd you say, 9 of 10, right?
10 of 11.
10 of 11, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you're talking about, the players that are going to go extremely high, and the skill level, again, it just continues to get better and better. You watch any of those guys on a given Tuesday in January, and they're unbelievable to watch, right? I was fortunate to see a lot of them up close, and, you see quickly why they're going to go so high, and why NBA teams want them on their team. You talk about the projection part, it's, if they're already this good, it'd be interesting to see how good they can get in the next 5 years, for example. I think it is a good example of how the skill level just continues to grow. But, I feel like it's been like that, for a while. But, the NBA teams want the guys that they can have from age 19 to at least 25 and see how good they can get in that time span.
For Nate Ament, what would be the biggest thing for him to adjust to the level of play in the NBA outside of gaining weight?
Yeah. We played them in an exhibition game. I think it might have been our second exhibition game. So it could have been his first exhibition game. You see the size, the length, the shot making ability. I think the level of physicality, which kind of goes into gaining weight, is one that everyone has to adjust to. The physicality in the NBA is unbelievable. I think the college game it's getting more physical by the year in a lot of ways. But then you just take a next step. I always think about when you're a 15-year-old freshman in high school, the 18-year-olds are way stronger than you, and that just gets magnified in the NBA. You're an 18, 19-year-old kid playing against 32-year-old grown men. So I think that's an adjustment that everyone has to make on both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
This will be my last one for you, but for Cam Boozer, I mean, he's just a bull. Like when he gets in the paint, he just, bullies people. What about his three-point shooting ability? How do you see that translating to the NBA?
I mean, I think it translates well. I mean, what did he shoot? 39% on almost 4 attempts a game. I've looked that stat up a couple times or something. It's somewhere in that. 39% is, that's no joke. And 4 attempts for a guy that played with the ball in his hands, I think is a lot. If you're, a guy that just plays off the ball and you can get up 6 or 7 a game, that's obviously more sample. But, I think it translates, I think the cool thing about him is he hits some off the dribble, he hits some catch and shoot, he hits some movement shots. So I think once you adjust to that line, it's just going to continue to get better and better. Like, he's shown that he can make them at a high clip already. He's proven a lot of people, about his winning ability so far. So again, a guy that I wouldn't bet on not to be able to shoot. I think that's a guy that I'm going to bet on that it's going to translate. Might take some time, but that's just like every other young player in the NBA, and he'll have a great career.
Evan, first of all, thank you for taking the time to come on with us. You were a lot more fun to interview in my office.
Well, come on by. You come to my office now.
Well, yeah, but I think
door's always open.
You've buttoned it up a little bit.
I don't know about that.
Oh, I do know about that.
Coach now, man, head coach.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Come on by when the camera's not rolling,
No, thanks for coming on with us.
I appreciate y'all.
Come
by sometime.
Do what?
Come by sometime.
I'll do
All
that.
of y'all. More than welcome.
Thank you.
I see y'all.
Okay, we'll go to the break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the whole Brendan Sorsby mess. Kelly kind of got in on the end of it. Want to pick his brain a little bit more coming up next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a race and sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall.
Clarksville, get ready. Because when the doors open at F&M Bank Arena, the noise rises. Nashville Cats. The walls shake. And the Cats take control. Fast plays. Big hits. Non-stop arena football. Get in the den. Get your season tickets now.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back. Some of you already know what has gone on earlier today. The NFL informing Brendan Sorsby that they will not put him in a supplemental draft. What they have told him is, you need to prepare for the 2027 draft. And obviously there's a lot of speculation. Right now, we don't quite know where this is going to play out. So, Kelly, let's just say for a minute that in this mythical world that nobody files a lawsuit. And Brendan Sorsby says, I don't want to play in the UFL. It's a joke. I don't want to go to the Canadian League. I'll sit out for a year. A 22, 23-year-old quarterback, how much damage does that do to his game if that were the scenario?
That's a good question because I think that you have to play. I can remember Kurt Warner talking about now he's in the Hall of Fame, but he was at the Iowa Barnstormers, an Arena League team. And it was just one of those deals where he kept playing. That's what I always tell guys. Like, I used to get, of course, I don't anymore. I'm too far removed, but guys would ask my opinion on things. And I was like, you still have to play, whether you're going to play the UFL or you're going to play the Canadian Football League or you're going to play the Arena League. You still need to keep playing because you have to keep sharp on your skills. I just think that's really hard, George, when you set out for a year or so and you don't hone in on your skills. Now you could probably get it back, but there's nothing like playing. There's no experience like playing. There's no experience about people, rushing you and you have to make throws, whatever league it is and whatever level it is. It's just different. And I don't know if I would do that, but that's maybe all he can do. Just sit out for a year and then get ready for the other draft. But I'm now you're starting to worry about, is he going to be an example, and is this going to hamper him for the rest of his career, and will he get an opportunity? Because now I'm starting to worry that maybe he won't. Now I've always said that the NFL, just like any professional sports team, will give you an opportunity if you can play, but I don't know if he's up at that upper echelon of a guy, and I hadn't seen him play much, with a couple of clips, but I don't know if he's that guy that commands that kind of respect. I'm just not sure of that. So, is it worth an organization to take a shot on him with what he's done and all this stuff that's turned out? I don't know that, George, but you're starting to feel for him. I didn't agree with what was going on, but now it's gotten to the point where you're starting to feel for him. Maybe he's ruined his career, and I hope that's not the case.
Okay, let me try it a different way. Joe Flacco. Yep. And I'm doing this by memory, has sat out a year in the NFL and come back to live to tell about it. Didn't seem to have any problems. And you can say, well, yeah, George, that's a veteran at the time in his late 30s who had a ton of playing experience. So it's easier to pull that off later in a career than it would be early.
Yes, I think so. I can see how Joe Flacco, I could see how Phillip Rivers came back and had that kind of they've been in the arena, they've experienced all that. They're very experienced in what they're doing. They know the ins and outs of playing. He hasn't been there yet. He hasn't been in the National Football League. So it's so much different of a game. I really don't care if you play at one of these big schools. When you get to the National Football League, George, it's a step. It's a step that not many people are successful at to begin with. And there's not many Dan Marinos who, take their team to the Super Bowl the second year that they're playing, and then he never got back. But that happens. That doesn't happen much. And I don't know if he's that type of player. I'm just not sure. And I think I think all this stuff could hinder him. I really do. I hope he does. I hope he hasn't ruined his career. I really do. I hope the kid gets another chance. I hope he gets another opportunity. It's bad what he did. There's no question about that. And we don't know the true ins and outs of it. But when you do things like that, everybody thinks the Art Schleichers of the world or the other things of the world. That's just human nature. And if we're thinking that, an organization is thinking like that. And I think that's why the NFL did what they did.
So two things. One, the CFL season starts in mid-June. I think it might have already started, so that might be an option for Sorsby.
Right.
The regular season goes until late October and playoffs start in November. So that might be an option for Sorsby. And two, Kelly, I was telling George during the update that I think this might be the best case scenario for Sorsby because there are options for him to continue to refine his skills, and at the same time gives him about a calendar year to clear his head and to prove to the NFL that he can, at least for 1 year, put this to the side. I don't know if he'll actually be able to do it or not, but the opportunity is there to do so.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I just like it goes back to what I said earlier. I mean, I think you just have to keep playing. I really do. No matter where you're at, where you got to go. If you got to go to Italy and play, for pizza, playing for pizza, you just got to go play, and you got to stay honed in on your skills. I don't know if he's at a point right now of sitting out a whole year and not playing football. I don't think you can do that at a young age, because when you get to the next level, it's totally different from what you're used to. And, he hasn't had a lot of, we've talked about guys. He hadn't had a lot of experience playing football, even in college yet. So, I mean, just wherever he goes, he's got to keep playing.
I do wonder, Kelly, the Players Association is going to get in the middle of this.
Yeah.
That.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
What type of assistance do you think they're going to try to offer?
Yeah, I don't know that, George. That's a really good question. I don't know if I'm capable of answering that question. I know that they're all for the players. That's what they're designed to do, and they're there to stand behind the guys. I don't know that, George. I'm not going to step into that because I'm not sure. I don't want to be wrong on that.
We both know they're likely to file a grievance.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but how far will they go? Because this young man hasn't really, what has he done so far in the National Football League? I mean, I think they'll only go to a certain point and they'll try it, but how far are they going to go with it? Because they truly don't know either about his playing. So I just don't know how far they'll take it. Now, you're right. I think they probably file a grievance and they'll take it as far as they can take it. But are they really going to truly stand up in the corner and fight for him? I don't know that.
Here is a quote from Sorsby's attorney, Jeffrey Kessler, who by all accounts is a really good attorney when it comes to this stuff and has been a royal pain in the butt to the NCAA. He says that the NFL's decision to not hold a supplemental draft, quote, is a violation of the CBA, collective bargaining agreement, and the law. We will pursue this immediately with the NFL Players Association. I'm going to be real interested to see.
That is going to be interesting, George, because when you bring something like that up, it takes me back to Clay Travis the other day and the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. And you saw where that went. They asked Roger Goodell to get in front of Congress, and he didn't go. So, it's just I don't know where this goes, and they'll probably find some loophole in it. But it will be interesting to see if that is the case in the fine print of the CBA. Just how far this will go and how far he can take it, and how far, see if he can turn that around, turn that decision around. That'll be pretty cool to see.
Well, I brought this up earlier before you got here. Kessler should have known the answer to this question before they filed the petition.
Who should have known it?
Kessler.
Yeah.
The attorney. I mean, doesn't he have to, behind the scenes,
be thinking of that NFL, already? Yes.
We're thinking about this. We need to know where you all stand. Now, maybe he did that and they didn't give him any answers, but I mean, he's supposedly a really highfalutin attorney at a big level. And I think the fact that they've been caught off guard with this is an attorney screw up.
Well, they also didn't seem. Go ahead,
George. If he's as good as you say he is, he's done his homework. I promise, and I guarantee he's licking his chops. And he wanted the NFL to do what they did so that he can go after him. And
you might be right.
It'll be interesting to see. Sorry, Parker.
Well, I was just going to say they didn't seem prepared for the amount of backlash after he got the temporary injunction to be able to play this year from the Lubbock County Court. They didn't seem prepared for the amount of backlash that they received. So that part was also concerning.
Well, Texas Tech certainly didn't.
No. And they handled it very poorly.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some naive kind of stuff in all this. We have not anywhere close to heard the end of this one.
No, I think you're right too, George. He may have, the lawyer may have been just waiting for the NFL to do that because he already had that stuff laid out and he knew it was there. He was like, "Go ahead, because I'm going to bust you," and maybe he will. I don't know.
Here's what if we're going to sit here and speculate and play attorney, and as you know, Kelly, I play an attorney, but I am not one. My guess is that they will go to court and they will ask for what's called an expedited decision.
Right.
Based on, we need to know quick. Training camps are going to begin in late July. These teams need to know what's really going on. Give us a quick decision.
Right.
That's what I think they're going to try to do. And who knows where that's going. Man.
And I know we're talking about all this, man, but like the backlash has been significant. I don't think people thought that. I think the American public, when they got involved, I think it put so much pressure. I just hope that the young man gets another opportunity to play. I really do. I hope he doesn't get blackballed, but that's happened before. And with guys that are in the NFL, I remember Ray Rice with what he did, which was, that was awful what he did, but he got, nobody's going to take a chance on him. And I just hope that that's not like this. I hope he gets another opportunity because he's a young man. He's got some talent, but you never know.
Tomorrow on the show, Mike Organ from the Tennessean will join us. Vanderbilt linebacker Nick Rinaldi at 4:00. Let's close this show out in style. And Kelly, I think you'll be really interested to see this.
So Oklahoma won the World Series yesterday by a score of 13-2.
Yes.
It was never in question.
True. And the White Sox rallied for 2 in the 9th to make me a double winner. So it's 79-55. We're feeling pretty good. Now, let's get to tonight. We're going in, and I know some of you are going to say, wow, the Dodgers, how easy is that?
Yeah, way to go, George. The hated Dodgers.
Yeah. I'm a little embarrassed by doing it. But, Kelly, not embarrassed enough to take it off the screen. And I want you to know that. But look, we're so appreciative that you were able to be with us. We missed you so much during that first hour.
You can tell how sincere he is too.
George, the old military saying, "Why don't you go pound sand?" How about that?
Kelly, you do the
same. Look it up. Yeah, okay, absolutely.
You do the same.
See y'all.
All of you tomorrow will have a really good show, as I mentioned earlier. Thanks for being with us. Enjoy the nice weather out there. Upper 70s at the moment on the George Plaster Show.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 code